Alright, let's talk about the Silver Templars book. So, whether you expected it to be a 100-page novelized thing, whether you thought it was going to be a mini codex with special rules, whether you thought it was just going to be shiny pictures, there has been a lot of talk about it, and there has been a very vocal faction within the Conquest community who are disappointed with it. Gonna make sure I'm safe. I haven't really heard anything substantial from the people who do like it, so I thought I'll give a review and a perspective from both sides of the argument. So we'll start with the stuff that we like. It's a nice hardback book. It has a really good presentation, and it's not a copy and paste thing. They haven't just taken everything from a regular codex, changed a couple of keywords, and then slapped it in the book, and they haven't just copied and pasted all the information from the magazines either, because that would render the magazines obsolete. What they have done is taken key information here and there, and then they've adapted it to the Silver Templars narrative. They've provided plenty of painting inspiration in there, and there's a couple of nice short stories in there which I enjoyed actually, and those short stories actually made me want to collect the Silver Templars, especially in the last short story of the book at the back, where the lieutenant, he gets a squad to charge in with him to hold back some chaos, some Black Legion from making a beachhead in the city, and they just gun everyone down while he's just pounding away at them, and then he just stands on top of this statue that's sort of fallen over to make a makeshift bridge, and he's just standing there with his sword out, like, coming at me, bruv. I mean, that's foolhardy, and they got balls, really. I like that. They're very much into their marksmanship and their swordsmanship and being the best they can with their chosen weapons. You get to learn about the culture, which is all about crafting your own weapon to bond with, which is great. I mean, we didn't know that before, and that adds a lot of character to them. Sort of a little bit salamanderish, maybe a little bit Iron Hands, because they're known for their weapons craft as well. But the Salamander's all about the Promethean creed, and the Iron Hands all about the flesh is weak, so chop my arm off and put a robotic one on instead. But these chaps, they are proud to be sons of Gilman, but they're also proud to have adopted Navarus as their home world, and they've fully embraced the culture there, which as a feudal world still had the hierarchy and all that, but the real value in the society was your weapons crafting ability, and your ability to bond with that weapon and train to your best and becoming the best that you can with that weapon. And I also like the fact that if you get parted from your bonded weapon, it's a great dishonor, and they will go to any lengths to retrieve it. So, you know, like, because they see that if they die without that bonded weapon, then, you know, it's a great dishonor. But it doesn't matter what happens, as long as they got their weapon. It doesn't matter how they die, they've died honorably. It's kind of noble, that. There's plenty of information in there, there's plenty of inspiration, and yeah, it's a nice little collector's thing. Now, let's move on to some negatives. So, first thing, might seem nitpicky, but it's actually quite crucial. On the timelines, they messed up the date for when Gilliman got his throat cut and had to go into stasis by quite a lot of time, actually. So that was a big typo, especially because that information is available in the magazines. Saying that though, that timeline is quite good because it is stylized to reflect the Silver Templars' involvement from the Indomitus Crusade and you know, the little build up before they were activated and what they did since then. Another thing is there's a lot of complaint that there's a lack of paint guide in there. And you know, to be fair, you know, some people would like to paint them, and that's cool. But if you're new to the hobby, you would have already started to paint the Ultramarines because that's how the magazine has guided you. And if you're an experienced hobbyist who decided Ultramarines wasn't for you from the beginning and started painting your own chapter and all that, then you already know how to paint those colours. And the same goes for the Silver Templars. It's a very basic colour scheme. It's spray silver, do some black blocking out, maybe a couple of bits of detail and some yellow. That's it. It's very easy to do, and so I don't think they felt like there was a need to, you know, include that in the book. That being said, it would have been a nice addition, but not necessary. Another complaint is that there are no special rules for them, no chapter specific things to boost them. And again, that's because they are a successor chapter of the Ultramarines, so they don't really need anything specific. You can pick it up from the actual codex and tailor the commands, traits and all that to suit what the Silver Templars are like. So, you know, they like to duel, very much about precision firing and close combat when it needs to be, and that's usually for the leaders, the heroes, the lieutenants, the captains that do the dueling. The Codex Astartes book is flexible enough to allow you to tailor to the Silver Templars. So, and also because it's a collector's item, it doesn't make sense to have those special rules put in that book, because the rules change quite often and points change. You know, certain abilities within the game usually change, or they get, you know, thrown away completely, and it would be a shame to have that information in the book become obsolete. So not having it in the book means that that book is always going to stay relevant and up to date, unless they start adding fluff to the Silver Templars backgrounds. But you know, that'll usually be in like a novella or something. The price. Oh, the price. We hear a lot about the price. £20 is too much. £20, what a rip. Games Workshop, they want to rip us off for £20. Oh my dilly god. So, £20 is not a substantial amount. It's not, you know, pocket change either. And for a lot of people who are on a budget, if you're getting your stuff monthly and you have that added to your monthly bill, it can seem like quite the leap in your bill. But then again, it is £20. You have to measure this. I mean, you can't really measure it objectively because it's all about personal preference. It's all about what you feel £20 is worth. And for a short hardback book, 48 pages long, with all the information tailored to a specific chapter that is a collector's item, you won't be able to get anywhere else. For me, I mean, 20 quid is 20 quid. 20 quid, I could do a lot with 20 quid. But I did feel like, after reading through it, that 20 quid was actually reasonable. Maybe they could have reduced it to 15 just because of the shortness of it. But that being said, you got to think that this book is not going to sell as widely as the Black Library novels, you know, unless Black Library get their hands on it, which I don't think they will. So 20 quid to make the money to pay for the writers and all the licensing and copyrights and to get that book published, I think it's reasonable. So could be a bit cheaper, but it's not at the ridiculous end of the scale. If they charged 30 quid for it, I would have fucking flipped it out the window. I'm doing this on the way to work because I had recorded what I thought about it. It didn't seem coherent enough and it didn't seem in-depth enough, and I needed to take a bit more time to read through that book, to appreciate it for what it is, to scrutinize it for what it's missing, and to see what other people thought, so I can sort of, you know, react with the community on the various levels that they've reacted to this book. What can I say? Overall, it's a nice collector's item. It is. Just like the art book, it's a nice collector's item. It provides plenty of inspiration. I know that after I read it, I definitely wanted to paint the Silver Templars. Just like after the art book, I really wanted to get back to my Necrons, and I really wanted to finish off those Ultramarines as well, and those Death Guard, because they look fantastic in the artwork. So after going through the art book, I found tons of inspiration in there that really got me wanting to paint. And you know, now and then when I'm feeling a bit of a lull in my energy to paint, just have a quick flick through there, and then I'm like, oh, this looks freaking awesome, I want to get painting again. And I think the same can be said for the Silver Templars book. I read that little short story at the end, because there's a couple of little short descriptive chunks in there, and there was a nice little short story in there somewhere. But the short story at the back really like, oh, that's what the Silver Templars are all about. And that really did sort of make me want to start repainting all of my Ultramarines into Silver Templars. And I could do it because I've got the silver spray now. And I got the yellows. But yeah, no, so yeah, it did sort of really get me inspired. My overall thought is, if you like a collector's item, if you want to learn a bit more in-depth history and lore about the Silver Templars, I mean, we don't know if we'll get more in the magazines, but it certainly won't be a copy and paste job. There'll be some overlapping factors, that's fine. But the book is nicely presented. There was only one major typo that I found, and that was that, really. So, would I get it again? Yes. It's totally worth it for me. Whether it's worth it for you is something else to sort of think over. If you're not too fussed about collector's items, or if you're not too fussed about getting yourself Silver Templars, then don't worry about it. Cancel them when you get your letter. You should get it a month before. For those who haven't received it yet, and for those around the world. But yeah, no. Subjective, isn't it? I liked it. And I hope you could see all those pages that I popped up as well. I know Big Mac Dan Skull does all the reviews and the openings, but because he gets his issues weekly from the store on the day of release, he doesn't get all the subscription offers, and he doesn't get all the exclusives that come with the subscription, which I do. So that's why I'm doing the book review, and I'll be doing the what are they called? The premium box reviews as well. And if we get another book later on, I'll be covering that as well. So that's all on my end. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you think it's worth the money? Do you think it's worth the time and effort? Do you think it's even worth collecting in the first place? Do you think I'm a fool for wanting to collect it? Let me know in the descriptions below whether you agree or disagree. And I look forward to hearing your opinions on it. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Check out Big Mac Dan Skull. His link's in the description below as well for the latest issues. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace.